Okay guys, it's finally time for episode 2 in this series. I did episode 1 6 months ago. It came out for Bookmas, and I had planned to do one of these a month because there's like 30 books in this series. I think like 38 or something, absolutely out of this world. And, oh, they're not numbered. There's so many of them. But this is book 2 in the Hannah Swensen Murder Mysteries by Joanne Fluke. I've read a couple of them out of order, and I will reread them in order in this video. But I'm going to start the audio for this today, and this is full spoilers, so I'll check in when I have some thoughts. Okay guys, I feel like my intro to this was kind of chaotic, honestly, because my camera was dying, but today we are embarking in episode 2 of the Hannah Swensen Mysteries with baking and lots of fun, and I'm very excited. This is book 2 in the series. I own book 1, this book, and then 2 random ones because I bought them before I knew this was a series. And so we're going in chronological order because these books don't have to be read in chronological order, but it's kind of like watching, for example, my favorite show of all time is House MD. And when you're watching House, you can just watch an episode here and there and completely understand what's going on. But then there's the deeper underlining storyline between like House and Wilson and House and Cuddy and Cameron and Chase. And there's all these like underlying storylines, which is kind of how this is. Because Hannah is dating like these 2 different guys. There's one named Bruce, I remember. She has her sister Andrea, and her mom's kind of nuts. And you get way more of like the deep story going in order. So I read book 1 like 6 months ago. Couldn't really tell you. We made some really good chocolate chip cookies in that. And then in this book, I've already looked through the recipes and got the ingredients of what we're going to be making. We're actually going to make the first recipe and the last recipe in this book. But I do have this on audio. This is actually a free book to listen to on Audible. And currently I have like an Audible trial going on, and this was just like a free book. It does not cost a credit, so if you are on Audible, I suggest you just picking it up that way. I am doing some editing today, and in between waiting for videos to render, I am going to listen to the audio, and this is a full spoiler video. So if you don't want to know anything, then move along, I guess. But these books are they're not like new, so I don't think anybody's gonna be too terribly upset. This is from 2001. Okay, they've been just recently like going through and redoing the covers, and I do think this cover is so fun with like the hot ass pink. And it's, if you don't know, in these videos, in these books, there are like recipes. I should have probably said that. Where's recipe 1? Here we go. Where like you have recipes of what they make. We have Hannah, she is the main character, and she has a bakery called the Cookie Jar in this town in Minnesota. The first one was the chocolate chip cookie murder, so we made the chocolate chip cookies and then 1 other recipe, and we're going to make the strawberry shortcake plus 1 other recipe. Some of the later books, I know this because I've read the other 2, have way more recipes. Like, they have like 20 plus recipes, whereas this one only has 7 recipes, and they're all desserts. And I know in one of, I think the Christmas one that I have, there's like this cheese ball, because I've made it multiple times. It's so good. So like, I know whenever we get to the deeper books that have more options, we'll probably make 3 recipes and do 2 sweet and 1 savory, or like just 3 sweets is kind of a lot. But we are going to make the strawberry shortcake that's in here. There also is, with the strawberry shortcake, a whipped cream recipe. I loathe whipped cream. It is like one of my top 5 least favorite things on planet Earth food wise, so I'm not going to make that. But I'm going to start listening to the audio, and then I'll check in with an update when we go to make the strawberry shortcake, or when I get about halfway through, or when I get up to the recipe. But basically we're gonna read the back because I'm not good at remembering what things are about. So this is, when the president of Hartford Flour chooses Cozy Lake, Eden, Minnesota as a spot for their first annual dessert bake-off, Hannah is thrilled to serve as head judge. But when a fellow judge, Coach Boyd Watson, is found stone cold dead face down in Hannah's celebrated Strawberry Shortcake, Lake Eden's sweet ride to fame turns very sour indeed. Between perfecting her cheddar cheese apple pie and chocolate crunchies, Hannah's snooping into the coach's private life and not coming up short on suspects. And could Watson's harsh criticism during the judging have given one of the contestants a license to kill? The stacks are rising faster than dough, and Hannah will have to be very careful because somebody is cooking up a recipe for murder, with Hannah landing on the necessary ingredients list. These books are so cheesy. It's also very much a cozy mystery, which if you guys are unaware, I'm not like a cozy mystery fan. These books have pretty much all been a 3-star rating for me, and I'm sure this will be a 3-star rating. But I think the like gimmick of there being the recipes is so fun. As somebody who loves sweets and loves baking, I've never made homemade strawberry shortcake, so I am excited about that. I do like strawberry shortcake. Today is Tuesday also. We're not going to actually taste it today because basically from what I read about this is you have to make the cake and then chill it for 48 hours. And one of my best friends, Andrea, is coming over on Thursday, so I'm going to ask her to taste test it with me. So basically that's kind of like what it says to do, and it says it makes 2 cakes. I don't have a 9-inch round cake pan, so I don't think. I might, but I don't think so. And then the strawberries need to be made several hours. I'm sure they will last longer than that. So I'm not even going to make the strawberry, or no, that's the whipped cream, the strawberries. Prepare these several hours beforehand. Yeah, so we'll probably cut up the strawberries and put them in a bowl. And we'll make the pound cake, but we're not going to be able to taste it until later on. And then I'm going to leave you guys hanging on what our second recipe is going to be. But I'm going to go start the audio for this. I've read the other book physically, and so I'm excited to see, that was before I was into audiobooks, how I like the audio for this. I mean, just come on. Like, these covers are just so cutie. Let's go. Okay, guys, I'm already on chapter 2. And so basically, the 2 guys' names are Mike and... it's not Bruce, but Norman. They're kind of like the same style of name. So Bruce and Mike and Norman are the 2 guys that Hannah's kind of dating. But basically, the guy who was supposed to judge this baking contest simply couldn't because he had like a tooth extracted or some shit. So Hannah's gonna be doing that. But I just mainly came on here to tell you that, oh, is this book so, and I mean so 2001. The audiobook is like the older cover, so I can't say one way or another if like this, what I'm going to talk about that's quite problematic, is prevalent in the newer, I mean, I could look. One moment. Oh no, it's so far. But basically, we've got in this beginning part, they're talking about like how expensive like strawberries are this time of year, blah blah blah. But she says, then this anorexic person comes up to me and says, but how many calories are in that? And I said, well, I don't know, people on diets usually don't eat dessert or something like that. So it's definitely got some incredible problematic lingo in it. I will grab it in 1 second and check the book to see if that is in the newer, like, I don't know if it's been edited. It doesn't say that it's an edited version. I think it is just like a updated cover. But this is my face. I was like, what the fuck? Because like you just wouldn't hear people talking like that in a book nowadays for like very good reason. Also in the audiobook I have to like skip through them reading me the recipe because I don't need to like hear. No, it is still on here. Dee Dee Hughes, Chuck's anorexic co-anchor, asked how many calories are in each slice of shortcake. Hannah said she really didn't know, but she didn't think it mattered because people on diets usually passed when it came to dessert. That's some crazy thing to have written in a book. And like, what the fuck? Like, it's very 2001. I'm interested to see as we get deeper into the series, into like the newer installments, if it also has problematic talk like that. But basically, Hannah's mom, her name is, it's so funny because Hannah's mom I'm gonna just like prop y'all like this. Hopefully that's okay. Hannah's mom's name is Dolores, which is my grandma's name, and her sister's she has two sisters. One of her sisters' name is Andrea, which is one of my best friend's names. So I just do think that's quite funny. Hannah's mom's kind of like harping on her. She wants her to date the guy that's like the dentist. I think it's Mike's, I think, a cop, and I think that Norman is a dentist. And Hannah just went on a date with the cop guy Mike, and it went like okay, and her mom's like, good, because you should date Norman. I don't fucking know, but her mom's like, you need to have babies and blah 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 blah, and Hannah's like, I don't give an F about that. Like, I have a successful bakery business and whatever. Basically, she's coming in to be a guest judge for this. It's going to be on TV. She's being interviewed for the news, but I mainly came on here to talk about the like wild verbiage in this book. Okay, friends, I'm about a third of the way through this book, and we have a lot to talk about. Since this is a spoiler vlog, while I've been listening to it, I've literally been taking like copious amounts of notes so that I can discuss all of the things. And I finished my editing. It's 4:44, and I'm about to get to making the pound plus cake to get this ball rolling on the baking and prep the strawberries. But basically, this guy Boyd, he and Hannah are going to be the judges of this baking contest. Whatever, Hannah sends Boyd home with some strawberry shortcake to give to his wife Danielle, who he eats the shit out of, okay? He's a horrible person and I hate him, so I really don't care that he died. But anywho, she gets a call from Danielle that is like, you gotta come here now, and Boyd is face down in the strawberry shortcake in his garage, dead. Basically, that's the situation, and I hate him. And basically, the lights have been out in the garage, and he is very like adamant about things being put away where they go, and if they're not how he likes it, he's gonna beat the shit out of his wife. So Danielle had found like that a hammer was like out of place. She like didn't see him at first. She just saw the hammer on the ground, and she was like, oh, I better put this away or he's gonna give me another black eye, because she like currently has a black eye from him. She picks it up, it's covered in blood, and she's like, oh my god, and then she looks, and there he is. So the police come. She ends up kind of like having a mental breakdown, like rightfully so, and she's in the hospital now. I also want to note that I absolutely hate Hannah's mom, Dolores. She's so fucking annoying about how she needs to get married, and it's just irritating to me. But basically, the police their number one suspect is Danielle, because it's known facts throughout the town that Boyd is a wife beater. And so they're like, Danielle, like, did he attack you? Was this self-defense? If this is self-defense, like, you won't be going to jail. Like, we just need to know what happened. And she's like, literally, it was not me. So that's like the theory that the police are running with. So Hannah is kind of trying to investigate to find out what really happened, because she believes Danielle that it was not Danielle. Also, Hannah and her sister are bonding. They've never had too close of a relationship, and Hannah and Andrea have become closer friends now that Hannah's been helping with these investigations. And she has a really close relationship with Andrea's daughter Tracy, which is Hannah's niece. So Hannah goes to visit Danielle at the hospital and is talking to her, trying to get to the bottom of everything. And she's like, Danielle, like, I need to know, like, was Boyd mad about anything? And she's like, was he mad at you? Like, what was going on? And she basically tells Hannah that Boyd had gotten a phone call that day, and he was really pissed off after the phone call. But she doesn't know who it was, and whoever it was a woman, because she answered the phone and they said, like, give me to Boyd or something very, like, aggressive, mad, like, wanting to talk to Boyd. And Danielle says they had a speech impediment, and she doesn't know anybody who talks that way. So she's not sure who it could have been. So Hannah gives her this task of writing a list of everybody who was mad at Boyd and why. One of the people, the first person on the list who's mad at him, is Norman, which is the dentist that Hannah is seeing. There's so many characters. But, so he's like the first person on the list. And then additionally, I will say that there are still some like wild words being used in this book, and wild diet talk, and really like toxic talk about diets, weight loss, like thinness, and I will, like, it's very 2001. You know what I mean? So that's been happening still, but they go to talk to this woman named Sally, and Sally is able to give an alibi for a handful of people in town. But another thing that Sally's able to give some alibis, and then they're talking to the guy who bailed for doing the, like, he had to call out for being the judge. His name's Jeremy, Mr. Rutledge. And he had been slurring his words that, in, like, his wife, I think her name was, like, Belle, was like, yeah, like, I'm glad that he didn't have to go on TV because all of our family back home would have thought that he, like, had slipped up because he's, like, in AA, and he was slurring his words so bad because he had a bunch of, like, stuff in his mouth, like cotton packs, because he had mouth surgery. So this gives Hannah the idea, like, oh, so maybe whoever had called and pissed off Boyd had just had surgery on their mouth. And maybe that has something to do with why Norman and Boyd were fighting. And so we need to go talk to Norman. So she goes to talk to Norman and is like, her and Andrea both go. And she's like, they're like, we need to see your appointment book. And he's like, no can do. But then it's like actually kind of funny. He's like, but I'm going to just close my appointment book and I've got to go check on some things. Because like legally he can't just give them his appointment book. But like if they snoop while he's out of the room, so be it. So they do that, and they find out that, well, first off, he says something about Boyd, and he's like, oh, I shouldn't say that, like, he's dead. And he's like, you know, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead. I'm sorry, but you should speak ill of a woman beater at all times. But anywho, so they find out this woman, Luann, was the first appointment of the day, and so they go to talk to her. And Luann's talking about how she was his second appointment of the day because a woman left a scarf there. And we're like, what do you mean? And so she then goes back, and they're like, well, are you positive? And she's like, yeah, because that woman took my scarf. And they're like, what do you mean? She's like, I really wanted to buy that scarf from this specific shop, but somebody else got it before me. So basically then we find out that the scarf came from this shop that this lady Claire works at. So then they go to Claire's shop. It's very like murder mystery vibes. And Claire is like, no, I didn't sell that scarf. And she's giving very sketchy vibes, like she's definitely lying. And Hannah's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure, if I didn't sell it. And she feels like she's not lying about selling it, but maybe, like, she did have it for sure. She's like, oh no, I sent it back because there was some sort of damage to it. And Hannah's like, knows that that's like not true. But then Hannah goes and talks to Norman about his first appointment. We find out that it was this woman named Lucy Richards. And she is the reporter, and she's very, if you guys have like read Harry Potter, you know Rita Skeeter, like she's very like morally gray as a reporter. It's kind of the vibes we're getting from this Lucy Richards, that she's gonna do whatever it takes to sell the story, and she does not give a shit what she has to do to get it. And she is essentially extorting Norman. She has some info about something that happened like years ago when he lived somewhere else, and is threatening to expose him, which is why her name's not on the list of appointments, because he's doing all of her dental work under the table because she's extorting him. So now that has me, that's where I'm at. And this has me thinking that Lucy is probably the one who got the scarf, and I'm guessing she also extorted Claire to get the scarf, and that's why Claire's being kind of cagey as to where the scarf is and why she doesn't have it and all of that nonsense. But we are gonna go and make our pound plus cake. I've been thawing out the butter, melting it, getting it to room temperature. But I do want to note that we did come across a second recipe in this first third of the book for apricot bread pudding. I don't love bread pudding. It tends to, like, the texture is not super for me, and I don't like dried fruit. So I'm not making this one, but just know that we have come across another recipe. I will let you guys know about them whenever we come to them, but this is like made with dried apricots instead of raisins, and it says that you can make it with any dried fruit, so that's cool that that's in here, but that's not something I'm gonna make now or ever. But with that being said, we're gonna go make this, and it says that this recipe makes 2 cakes, and each cake serves 6 people. So I probably didn't need to butter as I did, because I feel like I don't necessarily need to make 2 cakes, but let's go, we'll go meet up in the kitchen. Okay, Hey guys, we have got all of our ingredients. So I have this springform pan, which is like technically a 9-inch pan. I don't know if it's gonna like be an issue that it's springform. We will be finding out together, as well as I did have like a regular 9-inch pan. We need cake flour, vanilla. My friend Emily made me some homemade vanilla for Christmas, some sour cream, and some butter and sugar. Duh, we can't bake without sugar. So we're gonna get her open and we're gonna get started. We have our oven preheated to 325, boom. Make this 2 days before. You can also bake it, cool it, wrap it in plastic wrap, then in foil, and then freeze it until you need it. Okay, so it says to generously butter and flour 2 9-inch round pans. Do not use Pam or cooking spray. So this is where I personally, as taught, oh, do I need baking powder? Or is that a different recipe? Yup. Should probably get that out. I suck at reading the ingredients, apparently. I also do have some like other vanilla, but I'm gonna use my fancy vanilla. What did I say? We are gonna grease and flour these pans. This is what my grandma taught me to do with baking, is you take Crisco and, let's bring you closer. This is gonna be mainly you watching the baking, and I'm just like gonna do it, okay? Basically, you take your paper towel and you fold it up, and then you just stick it in the thing of Crisco, like this. And you use this to really get into the nooks and crannies of greasing a pan, and then you'll have no stickage. It's just always what my grandma did, and she's like our family's baker. I usually actually do this for this springform pan when I make cheesecake. It's like the #1 thing I do this for. But another thing my grandma taught me about baking is if you need to measure shortening, because this is shortening, if you need to measure shortening, a good thing to do is to fill like a liquid measuring cup with about like a half of a cup of water, and then you can add the shortening. Like say you need a cup of shortening, then you'll add the shortening till the water is at a cup and a half, and that just makes it so nothing sticks. So it's said to grease and flour. So we're gonna do this. Just gonna use my fingies, I guess. I don't really know why we flour it, if I'm being honest with you, but the worst part about baking is the mess that it makes. It's fine. That should be good for that. I'm just gonna grab a rag. Nice to have a rag out while you're baking. So we've done that part. So I'm actually just gonna take these and get these out of our way until it's time to use them, which is not currently. So we're gonna start by creaming the butter and the sugar in the bowl of our electric mixer. Okay. We need 3 sticks of butter, which is 1.5 cups. In the words of this book, we don't count calories for dessert. It's not a diet thing. It's very cringy, the talk. And I don't remember it being like a big thing in the first book. I don't know if maybe because I'm listening to it, it's such a jarring situation. I do plan to finish the book today. Whenever I'm done baking this, I don't know how long this cooks. 45 to 50 minutes. While this is baking, I may go for a walk. Not. I plan on going for a walk at some point, or just going and sitting outside because it's sunny out, and it should be good. So we need 2 cups of sugar. I'm gonna use my half cup because it fits in the sugar jar better, but yeah, 2 cups of white sugar. So it'll be 4 half cups. Let's hope I have sugar because I did not buy any more. I thought that this was full. 1, 2. We may be screwed. We may be screwed. So if I was gonna half this recipe, then I would need 1.5 sticks of butter. So I'm gonna need to remove a stick and a half of butter and put 2 eggs away. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is going bad. And I already greased both pans. My issue is my husband's at work with my car. And I just like have no access to getting more sugar. I thought that the sugar is what we had in here. Ah! This is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. What to do? Well, I guess our only option is going to be to remove the butter. I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I removed a stick and a half of the butter, and I'm gonna put 2 of these eggs back in the fridge. We're halving the recipe. It's fine. That was also my original plan, was to half it, so we're just gonna half it. So we have the butter and the sugar in here, and we're gonna go cream her up. Okay, it says to then add the eggs 1 at a time and beat them until they are nice and fluffy. And then we will add in some other stuff. But we're gonna do the egg situation. Okay, the recipe does also state that you can mix this by hand if need be. It just takes like some muscle. So we're gonna then add in the sour cream, baking powder, and vanilla. It says the sour cream you can substitute it for unflavored yogurt if you want a lighter cake. So it says that we need a cup. So we're gonna do a half of a cup because, as I keep saying, we are halving the recipe. This is like the spatula that I was using. So I'm just gonna scoop in here to get about half of a cup of sour cream. Okay. And then I will pop this all in here. Perfect. Okay, we've got that situated, and then we do the sour cream, the baking powder. We'll need 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. I don't really know how to measure that because that's so tiny. And how much vanilla? Again, we're gonna half it. It says 1 teaspoon, so we'll need a half of a teaspoon of vanilla and a 1/4 of a teaspoon. I don't know if I have anything smaller. Oh, is this it? Way back here in the I've never touched this stuff. 1/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, I guess I have 1/4 of a teaspoon. So 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. It's crazy that something that tiny is like gonna make a difference. I mean, like, I know it will, it's just crazy. And then a half of a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm gonna open this and we'll just do 2 of these. It smells divine. Okay, so I'm gonna go mix this, and then once this is mixed, we will be pouring in the cake flour. We're gonna use 1 cup because it says use 2 cups for the double recipe. And I'm gonna probably do it like 1/4 of a cup at a time. Okay, we have got our cake pan ready for this batter, but it's giving more like dough energy than batter energy. I will admit it's very thick. It looks like it's like not even tippable, so we're gonna do our very best to get the pound plus cake in here. I also only have this one glass bowl for my KitchenAid, which like I love the way the glass looks when it's sitting on the counter, but it's so heavy. So heavy. We're gonna get this in the oven, and while this starts baking, I'm gonna get the dishes done. And then whenever the dishes are done, we will start cutting up and preparing the strawberries. So that's that, I suppose. And it says it takes 45 to 50 minutes, I believe. The cake should be golden brown on top. So I'm gonna just get this in the oven. Okay guys, we have finished chopping up our berries. This container was like the perfect size. So these are gonna go sit in the fridge. And I just remembered that tomorrow at midnight, I'm going to an event and meeting Riley Singer. Oh my God. And so I'm driving my husband to work so that I will have my car to go to the event, and then he's gonna Uber home or Uber to the event at New York. But basically, I can get more sugar tomorrow in case the strawberries do in fact need it. I don't know if it's strawberry season or if they're gonna be super sweet. I don't actually like strawberries. I eat them in strawberry shortcake. That's like the only way I consume strawberries. So there's that. But we still have 30 minutes minimum on the cake. So I'm gonna just chill, I think, for the next 30 minutes. And I'll update you guys when I have an update on the cake. Okay guys, we are gonna check the cake. Okay, it's been 45 minutes and it says it should take 45 to 50. The cake should be golden brown on top. Cool in the pan on a rack for 20 minutes. So the cake's brown on the sides, but it's not brown on top at all. I'm going to stick it with a toothpick and see what that does for me. You know what I'm saying? So I think I will take it out because I don't want to overcook it. And the edges are like, I don't know if you guys can tell. The edges are real golden, so. And if the toothpick comes out clean, I think that that's pretty safe. Then it says, do this, and then run a knife around the edges to loosen the cake and turn it out of the pan. So, I'm having a snack. You guys can't even see the cake. I'm having a snack, and I'm gonna go set a timer on my phone for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll flip her out. Okay, it's about time to take this out. It's been 20 minutes. I don't even, like, if, as you can see, can you, like, tell? Lighting is kind of crazy. Because of the Crisco, like, the edges are completely, like, they came out so nice. Okay, I'm gonna allow this to keep on cooling on here. It's still very warm, but this will probably be the last update here until we eat this in a couple of days. But I'm gonna let her cool down, and then I will completely wrap her up and put her in the fridge. But that's gonna be that. I'm gonna go take a walk. Now that this is done, I'm gonna fill my water and go for a walk and then continue on with the audio.
Oh, it's like two separate things?
Have you never had strawberry shortcake?
I don't know.
They're like drizzled on top.
It's really like folded in like origami.
That's what it said to do.
Why is it so like, is it like shortbread?
It's like a pound cake.
Okay.
It was called a pound
Very
fluff cake.
flat.
Yeah. I had to buy special flour for it. I've never used cake flour in my life.
You can use this for both of the vlogs, this clip here.
Literally. Okay.
If you're watching on Hannah's reading channel, go check out our board game video where we taste tested this and more.
I'm just gonna like rip a piece off, I think.
I mean, it looks good. It looks like angel food.
Yeah.
Or is that what it is?
I don't know. But that's enough for us to each have like
Should I taste this by itself?
Sure.
How did that sound cheesecake?
It has sour cream in it. Is that good or bad?
Look at all this. I mean, the strawberries look delicious.
Yeah, they smell really good.
I don't like strawberries.
I like them in strawberry shortcake because they have sugar on them, so they're extra sweet.
She doesn't like burgers, but she'll eat one from Burger King and McDonald's. She doesn't like mayo unless it's the ingredients listed out and not listed as mayo. These are the quirks of Hannah's. Take that one. Made like little deconstructed. These are they'd be sold at a fine restaurant. They're broken.
Yeah.
These are whipped cream.
You were supposed to make homemade whipped cream, but I was not doing that.
So easy, but
I wouldn't eat it.
I would eat it.
Yeah.
Tastes
good. I like it.
I think 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I think the cake by itself is very like,
Well,
but then you're like mixing the mush.
also if we would have drizzled some of the juice on it and let it soak into the cake.
No, I think it was good otherwise. Like,
Yeah.
it was good all together.
Mhm.
Cake by itself, not a vibe. Cake all together,
Yeah, the cake's very like kind of dense.
like a cheesecake.
But I think it's because whenever you put this on
It soaks it.
it soaks up the juice. But honestly, I'd make it again. It was super easy.
Yeah. No.
Okay, you guys, we are back. It's been over a week since I finished this book and chatted to you. I don't know why I didn't do an update sooner. It's on me, so it's probably going to be a shitty update. But whenever we're done with the update, we're going to go start cooking up our second recipe, which is for the chocolate Highlander cookie bars. This will be interesting because we have to like make a crust, which is interesting. And it says that we just need so much butter, but we're gonna go cook that in a bit. But we're gonna go over my copious amounts of notes about this. So basically where we left off, we had Hannah and Andrea going to stake out Lucy's place. And they broke into her house, they searched her house, and they found that there was like a door to the original attic. They went up there and they found some like suspicious things. They found $2,000 of new money and an envelope about Norman, which is the dentist. And so they're basically figuring out that Lucy is literally blackmailing basically everybody in the town. And then Vera, who is Lucy's great aunt, comes in while they're still in the house. And while this is happening, they're like hearing a voicemail of Norman being like, basically they could hear on the voicemail that Lucy didn't show up to her appointment. So they're like kind of sussed out, like, oh my god, we gotta get out of here, we gotta get out of here. So basically Vera is like online talking to boys and doing some online dating. So they're able to sneak out and all is good. She didn't go to her appointment, and where is she? They also found a bunch of film that was undeveloped. And I believe it was Norman, he has like a dark room at his house. So Lucy brings him the film to develop it. When they develop it, they are able to see that there are pictures in front of Boyd's garage. So it makes things extra suspicious that Lucy has these. And the only thing they're really able to capture is that the killer, they can tell that the killer had these very specific cufflinks of horses. And then we sort of start to think that maybe Lucy was using these to blackmail the killer, but then like, why wouldn't Lucy report it? Like, this kind of goes like a step above blackmailing somebody because like you have evidence of murder. And now all of a sudden Lucy's gone. She's missing. Can't find her. She left her car with the lights on, which is kind of sketchy, and they basically, like, because this is like an older book, back when like home phones and voicemails were a thing, so somebody calls to like listen to the beeps to see how many voicemails she has. So she has 15 voicemail messages. So they're like, something is very suspicious. She has not been home. Is she being held hostage? Where is she? What's going on? And basically they're coming to the conclusion that the reason nobody who like Lucy is blackmailing is prosecuting is because they don't want her to like somehow let their information out. Like, they'd rather her get away with it and just give her what she wants. We also find out that Boyd, the night that he was murdered, he was like going to go see his therapist because he had just beat the shit out of his wife, you know, classic. And we learn from the therapist that he had left his appointment super early, but then he still didn't get home till after 6 p.m. So it was very weird. Then they find out through like a series of events that he actually like went back to the school that he works at because he's also a teacher, and he had some parent-teacher conferences. And so they went to the school to talk to Gil to get some information about that, and Gil doesn't know who he had met with that night. But we find out that Boyd was kind of having some beef with some of his students and their parents because he's like a coach as well. His students were using steroids for basketball, I believe. So we're like, okay, well maybe it was one of the parents of the students who killed Gil to prevent them from exposing the steroid use. And he also got murdered before, I guess like one of his students was on like their last warning, and so we're like, maybe he got killed because he was going to suspend them. That's a possibility. There was still continued weird calorie talk in this book, so go into this with that in mind if that is something that bothers you. So there was like also the night that he was murdered, there was film crews trying to film this like contest that Hannah was judging and such, Hannah and Boyd. And so she asks them if there's like a chance she can look through the film. She kind of lies to them as to why, but they eventually agree, and she starts going through the tapes, and she gets the access to the outtakes for the montage of the event. And while she's doing this, she's talking to the guy, and she noticed he has some very interesting cufflinks, and he says that like his in-laws gave them to him, blah, 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 like his mother-in-law did when his father-in-law died, and then she donated the rest. So Hannah's like, okay, this is kind of like a dead end, because if she donated them, they could be in anybody's hands. They want to go talk to her because she may know more. Her name is Ellen. And then Vera's acting super sketchy. We still don't know where Lucy is. Hannah basically explains to Mike and Bill, who are the police officers, like that she has access to this film. Then she watches it all. More talk about weight. Very strange. Then there is like a crashing sound in the parking lot, and Hannah's kind of freaked out. She uses a lamp as a club. Phone lines are out, but Mike is who's at the door of the car, so she gets out. Everything's good. Her mom has info on this team using steroids, and we then find out that Mason, who had the cufflink, got a professional coach for the team to take over now that Boyd's dead, before they can get a replacement. So that kind of makes him even more sketchy. Obviously the cufflinks were sketchy, so at this point we're like thinking it's gotta be Mason. It's gotta be. And then I just wrote Mason is super sus. Hannah realizes that Mason is the murderer, and then Mason tries to kill Hannah. And what she does is she throws flour in his face to like distract him. And I died because it said move and you're dead meat. Literally so like outdated terminology, but basically she's able to capture Mason and the story concludes. So again, it's just like a silly little corny murder mystery. I gave it a 3. These books are not like outstanding. The thing that puts them like, that makes me still read them, because I'm not a cozy mystery reader, but I'm like, yeah, I'm sat for this 30-book series, is the recipes. And with that being said, let's go start our crust and get going on our chocolate Highlander cookie bars. I've had such a sweet tooth the last week, and I've had nothing to consume, and I'm so excited for these. Let's go. Okay, friends, we've had our butter thawing for us all day and day. So first things first is you guys can't see me, but I'm preheating the oven to 350, and I'm gonna get out the things that we need. Okay, I'm gonna be so for real with you guys. This butter is not really that soft, even though I think it's because my house is kind of cold. It's 1 o'clock. It's been sitting out since 9 a.m. And the reality is that it's still decently cold. So like, I couldn't just squeeze it in half. So I'm gonna microwave it for a little bit. Not like long, but what we're gonna do is we need 1 cup of softened butter, which is 2 sticks. I really love the way the recipes are in here because it says 1 cup butter softened, 2 sticks or half of a pound. So like, you're super easy, like you don't have to even really go look at like, oh, if you don't know off the top of your head that a stick of butter is half of a cup, or yeah, which like I do have that. I was like, then I was second guessing myself. I do like vaguely have that info in my head. So for me, I don't like need that, but I know like a lot of people who are not bakers would need that information. We are gonna get our roll here. We're gonna start by making a crust. The thing is I have no idea what this is meant to even like be. We need a baking sheet, and basically we're gonna cream together 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and salt and butter, and then add 2 cups of flour, and then we're gonna pat it into our greased pan with our fingers to make, I'm guessing, like a crust, and then we're gonna cook that for 15 minutes. I don't know, but my butter, now it's kind of melty, but it's literally fine. It's all good in the hood. I'm gonna get a rubber scraper, a rubber spatula in my home ec class because I am old enough that we did have home ec. These were always called rubber scrapers, so it's just always what I call them. I do need to melt the other butter when we get there, so I'm just gonna leave this dirty butter dish out because it's better than making more mess. We need, do I need this? No. We need butter. Salt is like 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm just gonna guess. That's probably fine. And then we need 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, which I do have right here. And I do have my 1/2 cup, which says 1/3. I got this set of like measuring cups at Walmart, and 2 of them say 1/3 cup, but one of them is like definitely like, this one is definitely 1/2 cup. So we're gonna throw in our powdered sugar. So this is sugar, butter, and salt, and I'm going to go and mix this, and then we'll bring it back and add the flour. Well, that is creaming. We are gonna grease our pan. I do just need to scrape the edges of our mixer because powdered sugar, I feel like, is kind of tricky with a stand mixer because it sprays outwards. You gotta really get those sides. But I'll let that do its thing, and we're gonna do our trick. The Grandma Dolores hack, which is my grandma's name, that taught me the trick with the shortening to make sure that everything is really greased up in there really good. Unlike the messaging in this book, calories, well, I mean, I guess the book says desserts, you don't count calories in dessert, but we're not worrying about that. We're not worrying about any of it. We're just gonna grease up our pan. This does just give kind of buttercream frosting right now, but that's fine. We're then going to add the flour and mix well, and it is 2 cups of flour, no need to sift. Good thing, because I don't own a sifter, which is kind of wild because I do love baking, and I feel like a lot of things, it does not say to add it like slowly, it just says to add it, so this may be a mistake, but we're just adding it. And we're gonna go let this mix on up. Okay, well, this is doing its thing while that was, you know, mixing. I have melted 2 sticks of butter, because the next step needs you to have 2 sticks of butter melted and then cooled to room temperature. My guess is, after reading through the instructions for that portion, is because you're gonna be putting eggs in and they don't want the eggs to cook, would be my best guess as to why. We are going to, ooh, this is very sticky. I'm gonna be using my hands anyway because it says to use your hands, so. Oh, I hate the way this feels. I hate it. It feels in between cookie dough and cake batter. Like, it's way more soft than cookie dough, but more stiff than cake batter. So we are just going to, per the instructions, pat it out in a greased 9x13, which is a standard size baking pan. This is a 9x13. Oh my God, this is vile. That's how I feel. Touching this, it's not as gross as touching raw meat, I will give it that, but it's not nice. Not nice at all. Not nice at all. I think it's actually really horrible. But you want to make sure it's like quite even so that it cooks even. I'm guessing this is like a crust of sorts for whatever these bars are. Okay, I gotta go wipe this off my hands because I'm gonna throw up. You guys, my hands just feel so greasy because there's so much butter in that. I forgot about the amount of butter. Oh my God. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Not a fan. Okay, so it says do that, and then we are gonna put this in the oven for 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go do this. Timer is gonna be set for 15. I'm gonna need to go wash out my mixing bowl, but it says we're gonna mix the eggs and the melted butter and the sugar, add baking powder, salt, and flour. Use the hand mixer, and we're gonna melt chocolate chips in a double boiler or in the microwave. And then we're gonna pour this mixture on top of the pan you just baked and tip the pan so it covers all of the shortbread crust. Stick it back into the oven and then bake for an additional 25 minutes and put powdered sugar on it. Okay, I'm gonna go wash this and then we'll come back and do the other steps because it might not take me 15 minutes to do it, but I think it'll take me a decent amount of time, so we'll go do that. Okay, I'm back. I did put the butter in the fridge for a few minutes to like cool it down a bit, but hey, I think it should be fine. It's not like hot, it's like a little bit warm, but I think we will be fine. We are gonna do the next step, which is to mix the eggs with the melted butter and white sugar. I also cleaned this bowl like 90%, but then I was like, you know what, it doesn't need to be perfect because I'm literally putting all of the exact same ingredients besides powdered sugar. I'm putting regular sugar in, so it's literally not that big of a deal. It's just really not that big of a deal. So, 1 cup of sugar, regular sugar. I'm gonna do, because of the size of this jar, I just like, the half scoop fits, the 1 scoop doesn't, so we'll just do 2 half scoops. And then 4 eggs, evidently. It kind of feels like a lot of eggs. 4 beaten eggs. Okay, so I gotta beat these bitches first. Why that matters is a mystery to me. That's not one that I can even like conjure up a thought as to why that's how we're doing it. But it's how it says to do it. So I'm nothing if I am not a rule follower. We're gonna take our dirty butter dish and put the eggshells in there. Already got shell in there. Typically, I don't think I really ever get eggshell in, so how embarrassing is that? I also think eggs are vile. I don't eat eggs except for like in stuff, but like you're not gonna catch me eating scrambled eggs, sunny side up, hard boiled, like anything egg related. I just can't. I got the ick about that like over a year ago, and oh my fucking god. There we go. The ick is just persisting, and I feel like it's just, this is my life now, is I forever can't get my intrusive thoughts about eggs out of my head. And I'm not gonna say why I don't like them and like what my intrusive thoughts about them are, but if you wanna know, feel free to message me on Instagram. I'll tell you. I just don't wanna ruin eggs for anybody who doesn't want them ruined, if they fear that something could ruin them. You know, like I don't wanna, like for example, I have a friend who's rather picky and has a really hard time with protein, and she likes eggs, so I wouldn't want to ruin eggs for her. And since she's already kind of picky, I feel like it would not take much. Okay. So, well, again, I don't really know why these need to be beaten beforehand, but so do it with a fork. Then we're gonna eventually add baking powder, salt, and flour. And then the regular flour. Or yeah, baking soda, salt, and flour. Okay, that's like good enough in my opinion. So put our mountain of eggs in there. And we're gonna go put this on the mixer and be right back. This looks like lemon curd, I will admit, and it makes me wish that this was lemon, but it's not. Anywho, so we're gonna add our baking powder, which I do need to actually measure with a teaspoon. Teaspoon, where art thou? That's a 1/4 of a teaspoon. Oh, I'm just a half teaspoon, we'll just do 2 of these. So we need to add in a teaspoon of baking soda, or baking powder, right? Baking powder. Half of a teaspoon, whole teaspoon. Done. Salt, again, it's 1/4 of a thing, so. I put it in my hand so I can like see how much I'm adding. Good enough. And then flour, we only need half a cup of flour. I think this is gonna be more like a thick chocolate, like fudgy drizzle would be like my guess. I'm kind of thinking that the bottom is like a shortbread cookie and it's like a thin layer of chocolate, almost frosting. It's kind of the vibes I'm getting. So we're gonna go mix this. While that is mixing, we're gonna get out a microwave safe bowl. I'm just gonna use this. It says to go in the microwave. And we need to, basically, I don't have a double boiler, so we're gonna microwave the chocolate chips. We need 2.5 cups, which is kind of a lot, if I'm being honest with you. This is a half cup. So, half cup, I have more chocolate chips than this. 1 cup. 1.5 cups. 2 cups. Then I almost did not buy another bag of chocolate chips. I'm glad I did. Two and a half cups of chocolate chips. Just dump the rest of the chocolate chips into my little chocolate chip storage. And I'm gonna microwave this in intervals. Chips maintain their shape even after they are melted. So basically, it says for 3 minutes, but I'm just gonna do like 30 seconds, stir, 30 seconds, stir, and then I will come back to y'all when it is time to mix that all up. Okay, the crust has been pulled off, the chocolate chips have been melted. So once we do that, we just are gonna add them to this bowl and mix it. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna throw her back on the mixer once I get all of this. Oh my god, it smells so good. It also just says chocolate chips. It doesn't specify milk chocolate, dark chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate. I used semi-sweet. It's my preferred for baking. I think it's probably most people when they bake's preferred because there's already so much sweetness in the desserts that having a less sweet chocolate is nice. I am also not a huge fan of dark chocolate. So semi-sweet tends to be my happy place when it comes to baking with chocolate, which I actually don't bake with chocolate all that much. But I'm gonna throw this on the mixer, baby. I'm also not sure what the thing we had in the oven is supposed to look like, but it doesn't look any different than when we put it in. I'll bring her on over to show you guys. It looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. But whenever this is done mixing, we will figure out what we do next. Okay, we've got this all mixed up, baby. Let us bring her over. It looks like brownie batter if I'm being so for real with you right now. Got our paper towel stuck to our third rubber spatula because I accidentally keep putting them into the dirty dishes. Anywho, so we're just gonna pour this over and make sure it covers all of the shortbread crust and then put it in for 20 minutes and then sprinkle with additional powdered sugar. No indication as to what it should look like when it's done, just to put it in for 25 minutes. So it's kind of scary. I don't love that. I like a visual cue, like edges should look like this, dot, 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 dot. Stick a toothpick in it if it comes out clean. But I don't even really know what I'm making. I just now learned that this is a shortbread crust. So I'm a little bit scared. The whole thing now looks like a peanut butter cup, though there's no peanut butter in it, but the base looks like, kind of like a Buckeye. Have you guys had a Buckeye? You know what I'm talking about? I just touched this pan and it's very hot because it just came out of the oven, but whatever. So just gonna do this and make sure it covers the whole thing, and now I'm gonna just shove it back in the oven for 25 minutes evidently. So that is the plan. I'm gonna grab my mix and toss her back in for 25 minutes. And then it says to sprinkle powdered sugar on top. I'm gonna see if there's more instructions on the next page. There may be a little bit something further to do. Let it cool thoroughly and then to cut into brownie-sized bars. You can refrigerate them, but cut them before you do. They're pretty solid when they're cold. Andrea said these were so rich, nobody could eat more than one as I watched her eat three. Okay, so whenever these are done, I'm going to let them cool, and then we will check in when it's time to try them. Okay, guys, it's done. It looks and smells like brownies, so I don't really know what's going on. I'm supposed to sprinkle powdered sugar on it. Absolutely, again, I don't have a sifter, so I'm gonna go with the messy version of doing this. And then it says to let these cool. Pour the sugar on it. And then it says let cool and cut into brownie-sized bars. So we're gonna let this cool after I sprinkle on the powdered sugar. Yeah, I'm not like, I don't know. It looks like brownies, it smells like brownies, and this took so much longer. I ended up cooking it for, it was supposed to be 25 minutes, and then I did 8 more minutes, and then 4 more minutes, because it was still super raw. Hopefully that wasn't a fatal error. It could be a very big mistake, and it's just something that seems raw. But I have accidentally made raw brownies before, so I'm a little, anxious about it. Brownies in particular. So tell me that this doesn't just look like a brownie. I don't know what else to say. So we will see how they taste in a bit. Okay, I have you guys on my smaller tripod now, but we're gonna cut this. It's not completely cold, but my sweet tooth is tingling, so we're going for it. It says to cut it into brownie-like sizes. I'm gonna cut it into smaller squares because this feels like it's very thick. It's like quadruple C, thicky. So I think we're gonna want more of like smaller pieces. It's still giving brownie. Are you guys, when it comes to brownies, are you an edge brownie or are you a corner? I'm a corner, so that's what we will be taste testing, is a corner. And something tells me I'm gonna just like, it's not gonna come out very nice, like the first piece of baked goods in a dish like this tend to be kind of tricky. Is this like the appropriate thing to get this out of here with? No, but it's what we're going with. Actually didn't come out too terrible. Okay. So, let me take a seat. I'll show you what it looks like where I cut it out. And then this is like the cross section. I'm not sure it's cooked all the way still. It might just be because it's still warm, but it just tastes like a brownie. That's all I'm getting is brownie. It's not bad. I wanna like try to grab a piece of like the bottom by itself. That's good, the bottom, the shortbread cookie, But yeah, it's just giving brownie on top of cookie. I think I would give the strawberry shortcake like a 5 out of 5. And this I'm gonna give a 3.5 out of 5. Still good, but I like it less. But that is everything for episode 2 of this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.